Yo, what up, you guys? Ras out here in Singapore, and this is the Night Owl podcast. I'm back on it. So today, I actually want to talk to you a little bit about stuff that I've been noticing, and I've been connecting the dots a little bit from the things that I've studied in school way back when to the things that I'm seeing right now. And honestly, I want to talk to you a little bit about addiction because it's part of the way we learn. Honestly, we tend to follow the things that make us feel good, the things that make us feel important, the things that make us feel like, we're being heard, that we got the center of attention or whatever. We follow those things consciously or unconsciously. But the point is we follow those things. A lot of times we actually follow people who make us feel a certain way, or we do things that put us in a certain state of mind. It's the reason that we try to numb out with Netflix or food or alcohol or drugs or whatever the case may be. A lot of people try to avoid situations because you feel better when you're asleep than you do when you're awake. So a lot of people sleep their days away because that's how they cope. A lot of the things that we do, our behaviors, are actually coping mechanisms. Why? Because we tend to avoid the things that cause us pain and cause us confusion or cause us chaos or discomfort instead of actually trying to fix the problem. So it's a different level of thinking. You got to get to a place where you understand what the problem is in order to look for the solution. But a lot of times we just get caught up in the feelings, y'all. We just go along with whatever's happening at the time and we try to choose whatever feels better to us. It's the reason where people can tell us, hey, this is not so great for you, but you choose it anyway because when you're in that situation, you feel like it's important, like you are getting your needs met. So I was going back through a lot of my notes from the courses that I've taken, and one in particular is the Robbins-Madanes training that is presented by Chloe Madanes and Tony Robbins. Now, I did this a couple of years ago, but I'm going back through again to watch the online lectures and stuff because I want to refresh. I want to make sure that I got it right and I'm not missing anything. And there's maybe, other things that I can pick up. So Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs. And he talks about these things because it's important to understand what it is that drives you. Now, the 4 that I want to talk about out of the 6 are the daily human needs that everybody has one combination or another of. There is the need for certainty, which means to the minute what your day is going to look like. You need that because then you actually plan other things in and around your schedule. I think one of the ladies I was interviewing the other day was saying, during circuit breaker, suddenly she didn't have a regular schedule. She didn't have a flight schedule. She didn't have a work schedule. She kind of created one for herself to be able to manage her time a little bit better, because when she didn't have it, she found that she was very much less productive than she was before. And it kind of like affected her mood and the way she felt about herself. So she fixed that. She needed the need for certainty. So she fixed that. Some people need variety. They need variety. They don't manage very well when everything is planned out to the minute, and they get very upset and cranky when they can't adjust as life throws curveballs. And life throws curveballs. So for a lot of us, even though we love the food that we eat or that we cook on a daily basis, some of us can't do meal prep because we don't want to eat the same shit every day. We want the ability to adjust and accommodate as life throws curveballs. So the need for variety comes with hand in hand with the need for certainty, because sometimes you need a schedule and sometimes you just don't. You need that space to kind of be creative and go with the flow. As a parent, I need the space for uncertainty because Lord only knows what mood my daughter's going to be in, or what happens at the last minute where I can't make an event that I've already committed to, or maybe I have to reschedule something. So I need the space for uncertainty as much as I need certainty. That kind of structures my day a little bit. Another human need is the need of connection. You need people around you that you really connect with. You want to feel like, you have things in common that you can have some deep conversations with, and not everybody has that. We have a lot of people around us, but that doesn't mean we connect very well with any one person. But the need for connection can drive you to chase down people that maybe aren't so good for you, but because they respond, because they reciprocate some feelings or make you feel a certain way. The last one is the need for importance. You need to feel significant somehow in your life. You need to be the center of attention maybe, or you need to have some focus on you at some point during the day, so you feel like you are important, that you are worthy, that you have accomplished something in your life. Now, I've spoken to many people over the last couple of months, and some of their family members have a great need to feel important, so they will hog attention, or they will start to complain or pitch a fit when something else is going in a different direction, where the attention is going to someone else in the family. So it's a matter of managing all of these needs and the combination of the 4 to understand who you are and what's going on in your life. Now, this is also the reason that some people find themselves in toxic relationships, because it meets all of those needs, or at least 3 of them. And what Tony Robbins has taught is that if some behavior meets three or more needs, it becomes addictive. So that's what I want to talk to you about, because a lot of us get addicted to certain types of relationships and we don't even know why, because it does cause us pain, but it also does meet our needs, and not in the healthiest of ways. So it's a matter of being really self-aware and being able to have someone to point out some of these things to you for you to be able to see through the truth of the matter. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about toxic relationships and how they maybe meet your needs, whether you like to admit it or not, because this is not something we're going to be all that proud of. And I've been in those situations too. So let me talk about my situation, shall I? I have been in toxic relationships before, and not that many because I really haven't been dating that much. But I realize that sometimes I gravitate towards people who need me. I love being needed. I love the connection that I get from being needed. And that means a lot of people that I'm associated with, or I'm friends with, or have been in a relationship with before, have been people who are going through something at the time. They are maybe trying to battle between baby mamas and trying to manage family drama. Some of them have been in situations where they're really trying to battle their mental health and they don't know how to ask for help, but they gravitate towards me because I know that I make them feel safe and calm and loved, and that makes me feel important. So that's a need met. I have the need for significance as well. So that's one need that is met. Now, the fact that I don't know when they're going to call or reach out to me, sometimes they don't always need it. It's not a steady thing. It's the need for uncertainty, the variety of the spice of life, or whatever you want to call it. So I know that I can provide that stability for them. I meet their certainty needs and they meet my uncertainty needs. They provide a change in my routine sometimes when they do reach out and they need to be around me. So that's two needs being met. The final part of that puzzle is the certainty part, because I know exactly what I need to do in order for them to feel important. And then when they feel important, they reciprocate by showering me with love, maybe, or with compliments, or with quality time, whatever the case may be. And then it feeds into my love languages. So I know what I need to do in order to get those things. So here you are, three needs being met, which becomes addictive. So here's my problem. And I've solved it since, but I want to talk to you about what the problem was initially. I would gravitate towards people who were unavailable, people who were emotionally unstable, people who needed me specifically in their life because I provided some kind of certainty and clarity for them. And because of that, I did not have to commit in any specific way. But even though I craved the connection, I didn't have to connect, right? I didn't have to commit. I had my own space, but then I would get upset about the fact that they weren't always there. So it did meet three of my needs, which meant I know exactly where I need to go in order to get that feeling back again. But when it falls apart, I know I need to pull back as well. So it was this cycle of I need, don't need, don't need, don't need. And that's why I gravitate toward those behaviors. Now, a lot of you, if you're going to be honest, and I hope you are, you can honestly say that you do this with food sometimes, you do this with alcohol sometimes, you do this with, checking out of the world, like cutting off social media in order to pursue other interests. And that's because they meet three or more of your needs and you feel like that's actually what you need at the time. But it's not always productive. It's not always healthy. I know so many people who have been in abusive relationships because they felt like at some point or another they get the connection. You've seen so many movies on TV, right? Jennifer Lopez was in a movie called Enough, and she stayed in the relationship mostly because when it was good, it was really good. But it was bad more than it was good. But she only remembered the good parts. The bad parts weren't so bad in her mind, even though from the outsider looking in, it was terrible. It was life-threatening. It was very physically abusive. Now, she stayed as long as she could until she realized she couldn't do it anymore. It was more than she could bear, and she finally realized the truth of the matter. But until then, she had created such a situation where she kept going back or kept accepting the behavior and not correcting it because she trusted the other person was going to change based on their lies that they were telling her. We find ourselves in these situations a lot, and it's because of this addiction, because you get the needs met in some small capacity, that you forget that you're worth more than that. I was talking to someone recently and she was like, you know what? I don't understand. I know better, but I keep going back. How come? And I had to tell her, hey, when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it's really, really bad, and you need to weigh the difference between how much of your time is spent in the good and how much of your time is spent in the bad. Of course, people are going to promise you whatever they need to promise you to keep you around, but it's up to you to see the truth of the matter. We tend to romanticize, especially when people are telling you not to do something. You tend to romanticize the good stuff. When you're upset, you call and you talk about all the bad stuff. It's a matter of perspective, and it's a matter of choosing what you remember and what you don't. This is why journaling really helps, because suddenly it's in black and white and you can go back through the dates and remember exactly how you felt and how often you felt those things, and that becomes tangible proof that it's more than you're thinking about in your mind. So I need you guys to understand, addictive behavior is based on your human needs. What are you doing that allows you to feel all of those things that you need to feel, that makes you feel important, that makes you feel worthwhile? And sometimes it's coming from a good place, and sometimes it's really not. I was always told that not all attention is good attention. People will tell you, oh yeah, bad publicity is still publicity. Yeah, okay, I get it. I understand what you're getting at, but that doesn't mean it helps your reputation. It doesn't mean it helps you feel good about yourself. A lot of times in these abusive relationships, in these addictive behaviors, you tend to feel like shit afterwards. You tend to feel like you disappointed yourself, like you can't even look yourself in the mirror. So what do? You go back to that one feeling that makes you feel important at the time. Maybe you've checked out of the rest of the world. Maybe you've numbed yourself from what's actually going on, and you feel good in that moment, which is why it's addictive. You are escaping from reality. But that also means that if you have a reality you find the need to escape from consistently, that means you need to make some changes in the environment. But that also comes with its own baggage and its own risks. Sometimes you need to let go of people you're really not ready to let go of. Letting go of people means that you have to face some things about yourself, that maybe you've outgrown them. Maybe they are a bad influence on you and you don't want to hurt their feelings. Maybe it's something where, they're blood relatives and you don't want to leave them behind, because what happens if you're not there? What happens to them if if they aren't mentally stable and you leave the picture and that was something they were depending on? Would you feel good about that? Would you feel bad about that? There's a lot of layers to this, but the point being that all of your behaviors are based on your past experiences. All of your behaviors are based on your beliefs of the world, based on your past experiences, which also means that all of your behaviors can be changed if that's what you really want. So I want you to think about that. Right now, during this quarantine period, you've been stuck at home. You can't really do much of anything besides be in your feelings or be in your thoughts. And either way, you realize some of the behaviors that you've been doing has been to check out of what's really going on, because it's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too much for you to face at the same time. It's really, really upsetting. It's really destructive to you. And in order for you to change that, though, you have to face all of those feelings. You need to start being more and more self-aware. You need to pay attention to the names that come across your phone when people send you messages, and how you feel about when you see those messages, when you see those names. You need to pay attention to who is following you on social media and what kind of comments they put up, if it's constructive comments or not. Do you get triggered by anything that you see on social media? You need to discover all of those things. Now, if you need a guide, if you need like one of those sheep herd guides or whatever, like you get on the Grand Canyon, let me know. That's what I'm here for. If you want to ask questions or comments here in this public forum, please, by all means, drop comments below. But I'm telling you, until you become very self-aware of what's going on in your life, until you face some of these fears that you have and stop escaping reality, you will not be able to change what's going on. You will not be able to create the kind of life that you really, really want to lead. And I know all of you guys want love and happiness and acceptance and peace above all. And I'm here to tell you, it's possible. It's completely possible. Why? Because I've done it for myself. So I'm not telling you from this, you could be a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire, but I'll tell you how to do that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I have peace, and I treasure my peace, and I protect my peace at all costs. And if you want that peace, I can show you how to go about getting it. So for now, please be as self-aware as you possibly can. If you're not ready for that, I get it. I understand. But notice more about your life. Notice where you could find more peace. Do more things that make you happy. Find time to do more things that make you happy, because really, it's about the quality of life, not just the process of, going through the moves and pretending like you're really living. Don't live the same year 47 times and call it a life, please. Go live your life. Go explore. Be all that you could possibly be. Discover more about yourself. I want you to do more than exist. All right, you guys, I'll catch you later. But in the meantime, y'all have a blessed day. Bye.